thank you. Thank you so much for allowing us to awake this morning and see this day. It's such a blessing, Father, to know that all around us, because of this disease or that disease or some other disease, somebody whom we know, somebody whom we don't know, has left this life. Some suddenly, some prolonged. But today, before we move any further, Father, I just want to, on behalf of the people gathered today, thank you for the blessings of life and what you've given us and for bringing us to this day. We also want to thank you, Father, for the life of Henry Edward Bonchin Kamali McClean and the blessings that he has been to so many of us. We pray for his family, friends that are left to continue to remember, even after this event is over, that you would bring comfort and peace to them, and that every time we think about Bonchin, it would bring a smile to our face. So bless the course of this program today, and we look forward to for your spirit to be here to energize this event, and we thank you in advance. In Jesus' name, amen.
Our first scripture reading is taken from John chapter 14, verses 1 to 3. Please stand as I read from the King James Version, John chapter 14, verses 1 to 3. Let not your hearts be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would.
To the earth you created. sin upon that cross. I'll never know how much it cost to see my sin upon that cross. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Here I am to
Ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to let you all know that we serve an awesome God. Even though we know Bunchin, the Benjamin family, of course, God is still awesome. So he can move mountains. He can keep you in the valley. He can hide you from the rain. But always remember, God is awesome. My God is awesome.
My God is awesome.
He can move mountains.
He can move mountains.
Keep me in the valley.
Me in the valley.
And hide me from the rain. My God is awesome.
God is awesome.
Heals me when I'm broken.
Me when I'm broken.
Strength where I've been weakened.
Strength where I've been weak.
And forever he will reign.
Forever he will reign.
My God is awesome.
My God is awesome.
He can move mountains.
Can move mountains.
And keep me in the valley.
In the valley.
And hide me
from the rain.
My God is awesome.
My God is awesome.
Heals me when I'm broken.
Heals me when I'm broken.
Strength where I've been weakened.
Where I've been weak.
And forever he will reign.
Forever he will reign.
Let everybody say,
My God is awesome.
I said, my God is what?
Awesome.
I need to hear everybody say it. My God is what?
Awesome.
My God is
Awesome.
My God is awesome.
Awesome.
Let me hear it again. My God is what?
Awesome.
I'm not hearing you say, my God is what?
Awesome.
Oh, yes, God.
Awesome.
My God is
My
awesome.
God is awesome.
Savior of
Savior of the whole world.
Giver of
Giver
salvation.
of salvation.
And by his stripes I am
By his
healed.
stripes I am healed.
My God is awesome.
My God is awesome.
And you know, today I am forgiven.
I am forgiven.
And by his grace is why I'm living.
Is why I'm living.
And everybody,
Praise his holy name.
my God is
My
awesome.
God is awesome.
Let everybody say, my God is what?
Awesome.
My God is
Awesome.
Oh yes, God is what?
Awesome.
My God is
My
awesome.
God God is awesome.
Oh, yes. Isn't he an awesome God?
Awesome.
Almighty. I don't do it. An awesome God.
Awesome.
A God who can do everything. So be.
Awesome.
He's mighty.
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 He is
Awesome.
My God is
Awesome.
Oh, yes, he is what? He's holy.
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 I see it. He's
Awesome.
My God is
Awesome.
He's great. Isn't he? He's a great God. Great God.
He's great.
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 He is
Awesome.
My God is
Awesome.
He's a deliverer. A deliverer. Wow.
Deliverer.
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 He's
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, my God awesome. My God is
Awesome.
He's a provider. A provider.
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 Awesome.
My God is
Awesome.
protector. Protector.
Protector.
Protector.
Protector.
Protector.
Protector.
Protector.
Protector.
And he's
Awesome.
My God is
Awesome.
I'm gonna break it down. My God is awesome. He can move mountains.
He can move mountains.
Keep me in the valley.
Keep me in the valley.
Hide me from the
Hide
rain.
me from the rain.
My God is awesome.
My God is awesome.
Heals me when I'm broken.
Heals me when I'm broken.
Strength where I've been weakened.
Strength where I've been
And
weakened.
praise His holy
Praise
name.
His holy name.
Let everything say.
My God is awesome.
Our God is not only awesome, but we serve a great God. How great is our God? This will be our last song.
The splendor of the King, clothed in majesty. Let all the earth rejoice. Let all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide, and trembles at his voice, and trembles at his voice. How great is our God? Say with me, how great is our God? And all will see how great is our God.
Age to age he stands.
Age to age he stands, and time is in his hands. Beginning and the end, beginning and the end.
The Godhead 3 in 1.
The Godhead 3 in 1.
Father, Spirit, Son,
The Father, Spirit, Son.
the Lion and the
The
Lamb.
Lion and the Lamb. The Lion and the Lamb. How great is our God? Say with me, how great is our God? And all will see how great is our God. How great is our God? Say with me, how great is our God? And all will see how great is our God. is our God.
Come on, we want to hear you sing it with us. He's the name.
You're the name above all names, and He's worthy of our praise. And my heart will sing, how great is our God. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to Thee. How great Thou art! How great Thou art! Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to Thee. How great Thou art! How great Thou art! How great Thou art!
Amen. Amen.
Good afternoon, church. First thing I would say, thank everybody for being here. And today would have been Bonchin's 61st birthday. On Thursday, July 7, 1960, Henry Eduardo McClean, Bonchin, Kamali was born. He used to tell me Kamali is his dread name. I used to try to call him that, but Bonchin. Bonchin. You know, we grew up in Langpart. Langpart is a street like right next to Garden Street. Everybody know where All Saints School is. We used to live in a street right next to it. So, growing up in like the 60s, early 70s, it was really good times. We didn't have much, most people, but we had a ball and we used to have like great times. We would like invent games, make up games to play, because who know Bonchin? I know he would tell you, we had a mother that like won't leave us go no place. No place. I just saw some people outside earlier from the Garden Street area, and I say, hey, remember when me and Bonchin used to be standing by the gate looking to see, are you up there on the well playing dominoes or just sitting on the wall chatting, and like, we couldn't even go out the gate, son. We couldn't even go. But, hey, we made up games, we had great games, and like, everything was good. I can remember we had a chore every day. Our mother would say, you know, like, you had them drums, and we used to have to go up by the well and fold, like, have pans, and we had to fold a drum every day before she come home. And every day, Bonchen would say, hey, I tired doing this, you know, I tired. And he got a little pan them, you know, because he younger than me. You know, and like, he come up with a plan. Whoever know Bonchen know he had a plan all the time. He had a cistern in the yard, and like, we never used to use the system. And he say, why we don't go and full up them thing and like full. So I gone and like picking up water, and we full the drum that day. Well, our mother come home and, what? This drum never get full before. So like, how it full now? So she started looking. And Miss Sylvia McClean went by the cistern and do this and start looking. And she walked right down to the dot now, and the dot wet. And she say, hey, I come here. You draw water from here. And we can't lie. If we lie, we gonna get beat. If we tell the truth, we gonna get beat. So it's best to tell the truth. So we get blows, and we come up with another plan. Instead of folding it, you know, you're tying a rope to the thing, and we only taking up half a thing now. So we get over for a little while. Then we say, you know something, let's stop it. But Bonchen, right? I know we moved to Bordeaux. We moved to Bordeaux the week before Carnival Village. I in 11th grade, he going 7th grade. And we look at them, our parents, and say, they got to be crazy. How in the world we can move Bordeaux, we don't have a car, and like, we 2 minutes from the Carnival Village. So, again, the plan. He gonna stay by his grandmother, Miss Alice, and I gonna stay by my aunt them up Long Path. And it worked for some, you know, but then he do something in school, and he wind up at Charlotte O'Malley. You know, just thinking again, and something with a teacher, and like, always questioning. So he wind up Charlotte O'Malley, and I stayed at Catholic school. So then I went on to college. When I come back, he tell me, when he finished with school, he tell me, hey, I going in the service, you know. I say, you going in what service, man? What you doing? He said, going in the Navy. I said, why the Navy? How not the Army? You know, like, all we know about is the Army. So he said, going in the Navy, my son. He said, I want to see the wall. And if I go in the Navy, I'm going to be on a ship, and we're going to see the wall. Come, get on the Navy, he wind up. You know, ain't no cell phone and ain't nothing, so you got to wait till you get a card or a letter saying whatever. He say, hey, station in Rome, my son. And we like tour Africa and all through the parts of the world. So like, it's great, you know. So when he come home, he finish, he going in the resolves now. I say, why you ain't tired of that? He said, nah, This was going to pay for me to go to school, you know. Gone to UVI, say I'm majoring in math. I say, in math? He said, yeah. So now, I don't live Bodo no more, I live in town. So when we hook up and thing, it's like, he telling me about he and the boys. Court, Alvin, Reggie, Gould, you know. I say, what? He say, yeah, them is my boys, my son. And we have fun and we. I say, okay. Once you're doing good, I good. You know. Then he say, hey, I want to get married, you know. I get married Deborah. I said, Deborah? He said, yeah. I going to propose to her, my son. Like, during the summer, like, I hook up with her, and, like, that's all I thinking about, my son. And she gone away to school, and, like, so, come up with a plan again. And, hey, he proposed, and he married Deborah, and, like, big thing of blue beds. When you look, I seen people coming. And I say, wait, they interest for no wedding, man. Well, when you look at hundreds of people, they have Bonching get married, and like, hey, they got to come, you know. Well, after a time, it's like, hey, this food thing has shut down. And if you know Mr. Henry McClean, Sr., and then Junior Bonchin, they went on, hey, no more drinks, no more food, my son. Because, like, we don't serve close to 400 plates of food, and, like, it was supposed to be 150, you know. So they moved to the States, and, you know, phone calls here or there, and whatever, and then his first daughter was born, Kiara, and like, proud daddy, you know, proud daddy. And they come home, and, well, Kiara was born just before the wedding anyway. And I can remember everybody, like, wanted to hold Kiara, my son. Everybody. I maybe get to hold her, like, twice for the night. I can't compete with so much people. But then, Bonchin in the reserves. And then, I went to China. And when I come back, 6 days later was this 911 thing. And I know Bonchin walking in the Pentagon. So I trying to call him. I can't get him. I finally get Debbie. Debbie say he okay. What happened? Bonchin plan again. He and a friend, he tell me, decide they had briefing every Tuesday and Thursday. So on Tuesday they decide we're going to go across to the next building and drink some coffee, and Thursday we're going to go to the briefing. And they standing up by the window when the plane hit the Pentagon. So they tell me that they're running across the street now. What going on? You know, a little more graphic, but everybody running across. But everything worked out all right. And then later on, I know, working at Quantico, the Marine base, he used to tell me, hey, these is Marines, you know. Marines don't like sailors. So, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I can try to get them to build a Navy thing, because Quantico might be as big as St. Thomas, maybe bigger. Huge place. Then he used to call me or text me, hey, you don't watch the cooking channel? I said, nah. Bonchin want to cook everything. start to bake everything. Whatever day he decide he having a grill party, and nothing like grilling more than him. I think Kiara take over now. But he used to have a good time, and if he see you there and like you don't look like you ain't enjoying yourself, he just had a way. He come dancing in front of you, dancing, singing, doing something to lively you up, you know. And he used to tell a passion for fishing. He'll take off, go Virginia Beach. Hey, I went Virginia Beach, man. You catch anything? Yeah. But then I throw them back in. I just doing it for the fun. You know, he come home with them and he give them away or something. I say, but like, you don't keep none for home? Nah, me one of them things, man. You know, I can remember us being there and he said, look, if I get senile, right? And like, I don't want to take care of me, just put me in a boat with my fishing rods them and like, send me out. I gonna be good, you know? I gonna be good, you know? And then one time we had this pastor come over by Dunu's side, Pastor Morgan. And Bonchin called me and tell me, hey, I like that man's style, you know. I like him, son. So he looking at Pastor Morgan every night. He want to see him and he tell me like, and Sabbath, like, he telling the girls, hey, you ain't see what time it is, my son, get ready. It's time for church, you know. And like, that's how he started doing. Whenever he come here, St. Thomas, he would come in here. Now and again, he said, this is church in St. Thomas, you know. Then, I don't know, everybody asking me, Bunchin was sick, Bunchin was sick. I say, I know Bunchin, if your finger start to hurt him, he go to the doctor. You know, and like, but the one thing I know, if he was sick, he won't tell none of us. He would have kept it to himself, and we won't know. Because I can remember Christmas Day, I sent him a text, and I sent him something, say, Merry Christmas, he didn't answer me. I say, wait till I calling him, he didn't answer. I say, wait till I talk to him later. He tell me he ain't grilling no more. He ain't grilling no more for a while, you know. And then Debbie called me and tell me, hey, just had to take Bunchin to the hospital. And take in and didn't come out. But the one thing that we got from it is that before he died, the nurse said that she prayed with him. She was holding his hand, and he acknowledged that to tell his family, everybody gonna be all right. Are you okay? I gonna be all right. I at peace, you know? So like, that's what I would like us to do, just stay at peace. You know, and like, just keep thinking on him in a positive way. One other thing, he's the first person that ever tell me Thanksgiving, hey, I got 3 turkey, I'm frying them. I say, fried turkey? Who that eat fried turkey? He said, my son, this thing bad, CB. I so sorry you don't eat it, but like, this thing bad, man. Then I start to hear a lot of people talking about this fried turkey and thing. Then he starts sending me, hey, I got veggie burger mix for you. But I will make it first and then send it to you. So I got all kind of veggie burger mix from him, you know. And hey, boss, I'm going to bake a cake tonight. I never try it, but like, I'm going to tell you how it was, you know. So, that's my eulogy, that's my reflection on Bonchin. Okay.
This keeps me going on those days when I feel like giving up. Fire.
I believe the storm will soon be over. I believe the rain will go away. I believe that I can make it through it. Oh, I believe it's already done.
I want you to already see yourself out of the storm. The clouds will move. It's time for you to smile again. Come on, Sean. I believe the family will get better. I believe God will provide. I believe the promise that He made. Oh, I believe. Oh, it's already done. The blessing is yours. God's already pre-approved you for it. Come on, Zacardi. I believe that my God is a healer. Yes, He is. And I believe that I will survive. Oh, I believe that God is able. Oh, I believe. I know it is already done. The word tells us that if any two of us shall agree on anything on earth, that God will do it for us in heaven. And I know sometimes life has a way of knocking you down to the point where you can't even pray for yourself. But today, I want to agree with you that it's getting ready to get better. And right now, we are giving your problems an expiration date. And we're saying it's over. That you've been crying long enough. That you've been worried long enough. That you've been struggling long enough. And I believe that God's going to do it for you. Fire, take it up. I believe. God will fix it. Yes, He will. If you just believe. Oh, it's got to get better. Talk to him, Sean. I know you've been crying at night, but I came by to let you know that it's gonna get better. To the single parents. Go in the room and grab your children. Put your arms around them and let them know it's gonna get better. Yes, I do believe. Yes, I do believe. You need to call somebody right now and tell them God's gonna do it. We believe. Oh, we do it for a night. Oh, John. If you don't remember anything else, I believe. Remember this. Your storm is over. I believe. Your rain is gone away. Clouds have moved. I believe you made it through it. Oh, I believe it's already done. I'm excited about your future.
has somehow forgotten that you are faced with circumstances that you can't get through. Right now it seems that there's no way out and you're going under. God's proven time and time again, He'll take care of you. He'll do it again. He'll do it again. Just take a look at where you are now and where you've been. Has He always come through for you? He's the same now as then. God has not changed. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again. God knows the things that you're going through and how you are hurting. He understands just how your heart has been broken in two. He's a God of the sun, the stars, the sea. He is your Father. He'll calm the storm, He'll find your way, and He'll fix it for you. He'll do it again. He'll do it again. Yes, He will. Just take a look at where you are now and where you've been. Has He always come through for you? He's the same now as then. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again. He's still God. He will not fail you. He's still God. He has not changed. I know He's still God, and He's fighting for you. Just like Daniel, just like Moses, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He'll do it again. Yes, He will. He'll do it again. Just take a look at where you're now and where you've been. Has He always come through for you? He's the same now as then. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again. I know that He will. I'm trying it for myself. You don't have to know how, friend. You don't have to know when. You don't have to know how God's gonna solve it. You don't know how He's gonna do it. I want you to know you hold on to God's hand. He'll wipe the tears from your eyes. Just hang in there, wait on the Lord. He's gonna lift your heavy burden. If you hang in there, He's gonna open doors closed in your face. You don't have to know how, no. You don't have to know when. You may not know when, but He'll do it again.
From the moment that I wake until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I
Good evening, everyone. Friends of Kamali, family members, Debbie and the girls, and the entire family circle. You know, a lot of people wonder how me and Kamali were so good. I live in St. Croix. He lives in St. Thomas. But we met at the University of the Virgin Islands. And it was then College of the Virgin Islands when we were there. And here was this guy that returned from the Navy, attending UVI, and also just coming from St. Croix and meeting up for the first time. And somehow, me and Kamali just gravitated as one. He was a fun-loving, love-to-party individual that you just had to be around because he would just make your whole weekend, your whole day. And I remember about 1 year after we became good friends, we were walking a day going down towards South Dome. And he said, "Hey, Kurt," and I thought of this story because of what CB said. He said, "Hey, Kurt, you need a dread name, you know. Everybody have a dread name. You need a dread name. You can't just go by Kurt all the time." So I say, "Hey, you know, I am Kurt." Some of my family members call me Tony because my middle name is Anthony. He said, no, you need a dread name. We're going to find a dread name for you. I was like, Kamali, I don't want a dread name. But he found one anyhow. So somehow he told me one day, you're now Pelunki. And I was like, I am what? I hear you're Pelunki, that's your dread name. And the only person I would answer to that was Kamali. Because everybody, as I said, don't call me no stupidness. I'm Kurt, I'm not Pelunki. But that was Kamali. And just the way he would say it and harass you, it was better to just answer him than to go through the constant harassment. He was such a dependable friend. And when you're young, you don't know how dependable individuals are because you're just going with the flow, so we would hang out. But Kamali had access to a car. And none of us from St. Croix had access to wheels. Alvin, myself, none of us. Barry from Totola, none of us. And Kamali was my go-to ride. And Kamali knew every jam and St. Thomas, every party, every club. And he would call and say, Kurt, let's go. We got in Lyman this weekend. Whether it's jam band, imagination, and it was good, clean, fun. Nothing out of the way. Nothing that you would have to hang your head and be ashamed of. As time went on, we realized that we were majoring in the same field. He was a math major, I was a math major, so we had all our classes together. For 4 years, we had literally all our classes together. Kamali was a commuter, I was on campus. But every night, Kamali would come on campus, come by my room, come by the loungeria, and we would hang out and study. I remember night studying until 3, 4 o'clock. Kamali in the lounge, and we just studying math because we need to pass this math. We both want to graduate. Amazingly, we both graduated in 1987 from the now University of the Virgin Islands. So he always bragged about that. Hey, he's the first one in the class from the university. I went back to St. Croix. I went into education. Kamali stayed in St. Thomas. I called him in 89 and I said, hey, Kamali, I get married. I need you to be in my wedding. I want you to come to St. Croix. He came to St. Croix. He was in my wedding, and then he called me and said, hey, I get married to Debbie. I need you to come to St. Thomas, and you're going to be my wedding. The same year, so I think that maybe I was a little spark that made him propose to Debbie. He was like, what? Pelunki get married? Time for me to get married. And that's the way he was, He'd be like, what? How he get in front of me? How he first me? So he got married in 1989, December, right? And shortly after, they went to the States. I was kind of sad. I was very sad that my partner was leaving St. Thomas because when I come over, we would always see each other, talk, and hang out. But we stayed in contact. And I think shortly after that, the trueness of Kamali's heart really came out. Like I said, I was married in 89, Debbie in 89, and I got my first baby in 1991. And 1992 came, May, and my baby's 10 months old, and my baby got sick. We didn't know what it was, and we finally got a diagnosis. My 10-month-old child was diagnosed with a form of childhood cancer, neuroblastoma. So I'm here freaking out. I was in Puerto Rico at a hospital, and then Dr. James was living, and he said, hey, you need to get off the island. You need to go someplace that specializes in this. I'm going to recommend, he said 3 or 4 different hospitals. He said Emory, Boston, and Johns Hopkins. I was like, I don't know anybody in any of those places. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to go to Johns Hopkins, not knowing anybody in Maryland. But I had a friend that lived close by, Kamali. Kamali was living in Virginia. These weren't as much of these cell phone days as we have, so it wasn't easy to get in communication with each other. I remember I called Kamali, I said, Kamali, I got a problem, my baby's sick. Me and Wanda need to come up to Maryland, but you're in Virginia. He said, don't worry, come. Get a flight, come, stay by me tonight. The morning, I'm going to leave, and I'm going to drive you to Baltimore, to Johns Hopkins. I'm going to make sure you get into a hotel. I'm going to check on a hotel for you, make sure all the arrangements, and make sure you and Wanda and your baby is good. And Kamali did that. I flew in. I stayed by Debbie the night. Probably can't remember, you were very small. I stayed there the night. They took care of me. I was traumatized. And Kamali, with his regular, jovial, and just good attitude, made it a lot easier. He drove us to Baltimore, got me set up, and checked on me. And my wife ended up staying up there for a year. And my daughter is good now. She's 30 years old. She's going to be 30 July 22nd, a civil engineer. And I told her, I got to go to Kamali's funeral. I got to go in Virginia, because he's partially responsible for you being here. He helped me to save your life. So I'll never, ever forget him for that. And for everything else. We had a lot of fun, and I told one of his daughters, I said, Kamali passed away knowing all my secrets. And he never spilled any. So anybody now looking to find out my secrets, it is too late. Only one person knew them, and he has been laid to rest, and he never had a discussion with anybody about the wonderful things that we did. And January 24th, I got a call from CB. I saw the phone with CB name, and it was a Sunday morning. I was laying down on my couch, and I was like, I wonder why he's calling me. Is he still in basketball? I'll come off now. And as soon as he answered, he said, hey, what's up, CB? And he said, hey, I called to tell you about Kamali. And when he told me, I couldn't move. I just lay there. And I was like, what? How? This is impossible. You can't be speaking about Kamali. And I was gone for a week. Totally. He was a good person. And a good friend. He loved Debbie. Like, whew, you wouldn't believe it. And his girls were the light up his life. When he's talking about them, he's smiling, he's animated. He had one he used to quarrel with a little bit. He used to say, oh, God, she's not listening to me. I don't know which one it is. She is not listening to me. This girl is going to drive me crazy. I'm trying, please. He said, come on, cool dog. She's going to listen. He said, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. The next one's so straight. And the next one, oh, my God. I don't know which one of you it is. But I know that, I know he's now proud of both of you. He's very proud of both of you because he said that repeatedly, that he was very proud of his children and proud of his extended children. And I applaud him because somehow Debbie have always taken care of somebody. I have never known a year that she hasn't taken care of somebody. I call and like, hey, Kamali, how you doing? And he said, good. I said, how the girls? And he said, they're good. And then he gonna call some other name. And I was like, come on, who is that? It's a cousin and we're taking it. It's a this and we take every year. And then it was my mom, she's up here, and then Debbie mom, and then so everybody, and that tells you the worth of a person. When a person take care of their family, that tells you a lot about them as a person. You know, so I applaud Kamali, I applaud his entire family circle, dedicated dad, dedicated father, dedicated friend, just a good person overall. And I had to make sure that I'm here in St. Thomas to pay my respect to one of my best friends I've ever had. So to Kamali and the family, I say rest in peace. The videos and the pictures, I looked at it and I just said, look at how important it is to take family pictures and videos. It's so important to have pictures and to save them. And we're now in an age where we're taking them on our phone and we're not saving them, we're not printing them out. And that collage, I was in one of the pictures, I don't know if I saw a younger version of me in the wedding. It is so important to do that. So to all of us who are still here, who still have life, who give thanks every day for waking up, love your family. Before it's so late, love your family. Rest in peace, thank you so much.
Good evening. Beautiful. Yeah, well, I'm pleased that Kurt went first, so he said most of the stuff. And my friend Kamali, which I knew him as until I visited his home and I heard his mother call him Bunshin. We were there and he was, as Kurt said, he was everything that Kurt said and more. And I don't have a lot to share because there's a lot to say. However, I'm going to share two stories. There was a year I met, we were somewhere and he had introduced me to this young lady who I met. And then, you know, Kamali always talks crap like, hey, don't eat the rice, the man. And then after a while he passed and said, the white, you eat the rice, the man, you eat the rice. And interestingly enough, the young lady is my wife, still at the back. That's how long. And we've been married now, we've been together now for 35 years. Together, so it's a long time. And the one other thing I want to touch on is, as CB said, he went to the Navy. And the interesting story how he got to the Navy, of course, being tired of the water. But not just that, there's one particular story. CB might know it. His father, the retired policeman, he used to have a farm on the north side. And then when Kamali was leaving high school or in 12th grade, he says, hey, I'm glad you're going to live in high school, you know. You will help me on the farm. So in Kamali's mind, the farm? Raising the pigs? Nah, the man meaning that. And that was where the plan came from to get to the Navy. And the second thing is that Kamali, he always had a plan. Yes, because he'd been everywhere. He knew where all the parties was, and he had a truck. And whether it's Totola, St. Croix, or wherever, and all of the clubs in St. Thomas, Tahoe Club, I was a little young man, and some other one we used to go, and so forth. He did a lot of that. Then the other interesting thing about Kamali is that in all of the plan he had, he always knew how to push his plan, because when Kamali first came to UVI, it was not really one say mathematics when he made up his mind. And Kurt knows, yes, he struggled. Yes, they struggled, and those guys persevered tremendously. And in fact, Kurt and them always tell me I was the one, I was doing something else, and they want me to come along with the math, and I didn't. So all in all, we've lost, one of the most jovial persons you'd have ever known. Ever. Very straightforward, very candid, very sincere. And believe me, he had a massive heart. Kamali had a big heart, and not just the children. And thankfully, I must say, in 2019, the year before COVID, when we last traveled, I did stop by and see him, unlike earlier years when, he show you DC and stuff. So we lost a good friend, and our condolences to the family. And I know he's smiling, and yes, we're going to keep all the other information and stuff private among us. Thank you, guys.
Good evening, good evening. My name is Robert Leacock. Grew up with Bonjin in Bordeaux. He used to call me, when I had, 3 people used to call me. Anytime I had the name Bob, everybody used to call me Robbie. But anytime I had the name Bob, it was either CB, Bonjin, or another guy we grew up with named Angelo, we call him Black God. So anytime I had Bob, it had to be 1 or 3 of those people. But anyway, I grew up in Bordeaux. 1971, I think it was April of 71, we moved to Bordeaux. And then shortly thereafter, it had to be either late 71 or early 72, I saw Bonjin. So it had to be around the time. It had to either been, CB will tell me, it's either late 71 or early 72. Maybe April of 72. Okay. So from then, it had a period of time, including Carlos, all of us that lived in the neighborhood, we used to see each other from, I had to have been 11 and a half, 12. Bonjin was younger than me by maybe 8, 9 months. Anyway, so for I had a period there from like 72 to 78, all of us used to see each other every day. I either would go down by Bonjin or he would come and look for me, or all of us would meet on the court. So Bonjin used to go to college school. I don't know what happened, but all I know, when I was in 10th grade, I see Bonjin coming out of the car in blue and blue. So I was really happy to see him. I know what happened, but I was glad to see him. So that was in 10th grade. So we graduated in the class of 78, which we like to say is the most illustrious class. Our brain bigger than everybody else's brain. That's why Bonjin always had a plan. He's from the class of 78. Anyway, we got to the Navy. Bonjin always seemed to be a month ahead of me. I'm in boot camp. I'm marching in the rain. I say to myself, no, man, this is a bad idea. I don't know why I do this. I see a battalion coming next. I see Bonjin coming marching. Bonjin start to smile when he see me. But Bonjin was always a lot more disciplined than I was. So I didn't smile. I bust out a big laugh when I see Bonjin marching in the rain. So here's the company commander, a little white man jump up in my face. Maintain your military bearing, sailor. Maintain your military bearing. I said to myself, Jesus Christ, I can't even see somebody from home and smile, man. So Bonjin finished boot camp before me. In the Navy, when you finish boot camp, you have something you call sea school. That's where you go to learn a trade or whatever. And apparently Bonjin, I know to type. I don't know where he learned how to type. But Bonjin went and he was a yeoman. That's the person that handles all administrative stuff on the ships and the base them and stuff. And I used to be a hospital corpsman, but I ain't too big on blood, so I was doing administrative work. So after sea school, Bonjin went to Europe. Apparently he was in Rome. And I ended up in Roosevelt Road, Puerto Rico. Then from there, I ended up going to Bethesda, Maryland. So it had a group of guys that were living on St. Thomas, Dale Francois, they used to call him Abba. He had a guy named Reckless Roach, and they used to be all over, I guess in times they'd call the DC area the DMV. But then nowadays, we used to just call it the DC because that was the early, that was like between 80 and 82. So they told me Bonjin in Virginia and he wanted to see me. So I hooked up with Bonjin. And a couple times we would meet at DuPont Station, and then we'll get out and walk around and chat, and then he would go back to Virginia, and then I would go back to Maryland. So I got out of the Navy August 27th, 1982. Again, Bonjin was a month ahead of me. When I come home, they tell me Bonjin here. So I know where to find Bonjin. In the night, I went back street, and there was Bonjin, and we had a great time. So then he was at UVI. I was at UVI. That's when he hooked up with Court and the gang, Gold, and the crew. And I was back home. Again, Bonjin had always been a lot more disciplined than I was. So I had some wayward friends. And I say, if I'm going to finish school, I got to get out of here. So then I went away. And then I finished undergrad. Then I went to law school. Came in 87. I saw him for a while. And by the time I got back here in 89, he either had left or he left shortly thereafter. And then from there on, I didn't see him too much, but I was always see CB and ask him about him, and CB was telling me he's doing great. So the whole gamut of my life, I've always known Bonjin. Always known Bonjin. And as Alvin was saying, as Scott was saying, and everybody was saying, Bonjin have a really, really, really good spirit. When I was younger, I ain't gonna lie, I was overbearing, I was a pain in the behind. So sometimes I would get Bonjin upset. And then he would go home, I wouldn't see him till later on, and then it'll be in the afternoon or on the court, and I'll go to talk to him, and Bonjin would say, you remember what happened this morning? And then I would play stupid and say, no, what happened? And then he would suck his teeth, and then everything would be all right again. He had a really good spirit. He didn't hold grudges. I don't know what happened when he got older, but when we were younger, that's how he was. So you used to just leave some time pass, and then he would leave it go. So I don't know if he changed as he got older, but when he was younger, that's how he was. But anyway, I know we're supposed to be speaking shortly, or briefly. So I would say, there's an English writer by the name of D.H. Lawrence, and he said, the dead do not die. They look on and help. So if we have somebody as caring and diligent as Bonjin looking out for us, I would say we're in good stead. So that's all I would like to say this evening.
Robbie. I'm going to join Robbie with the border section of this tribute, and partly at UVI. What has been said already, I just said ditto. And some I didn't know. See, we all find them pictures of a slim Bonjin. That's the first in my life I ever see Bonjin even close to being slim. Oh, Pastor, I have to say this. Anything you heard that was said that was my name was attached to was before Christ. Just let you know, pastors. All right. And to see those pictures was something else. And basketball, as Robbie was saying, was something that we did in Bordeaux religiously. You had your A court and your B court. The A court was for CB, Spark, and all them bigger guys who were near pros. The B court was for Bonjin, myself. Robbie used to try to think he could be on the A court until they sent him down to the B court. And we would be on the B court until we grew up to the age of being, and Bonjin, as chubby as he was, couldn't dunk like anybody else, but was slick with the ball. All of us know, when we have a game up the hill versus down the hill, point guard, Bonjin. He wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the highest jumper, but you weren't stealing the ball from him. And all he needed was, like CB, was a little space, and it was 2 points. In college, he was one of those persons, because when I found out he was going to college, I went to Florida A&M. And this was the days, as everybody's been saying, when you didn't have cell phones. So I used to get a postcard from Bonjin. Y'all know what postcards are? Simon? Yeah, Kiara? Y'all know what postcards are? Okay, just checking. We used to get postcards, and one of the first postcards I got from Bonjin, I wrote back to him, and I was lamenting the fact that, I am in college and chemistry just killing me because I had avoided math and chemistry in high school, and it's just killing me, and I wish I had gone to He said, no, Carlos, you stay there. I am going to see the world, and I'm going to tell you what I saw. And every month I would get a postcard from Rome. When he was in Rome, I got a postcard from him. When he was I think he had went to Egypt, I got a postcard from him in Egypt. And every place he went, I would just be saying, why didn't I go in the military? I have to stay here and suffer with this class. But he would always tell me, no, Carlos, some of us have to go in the military and some of us have to go college. You just stay there and finish up and we'll see where life takes us. And you all know Bunchen rode bicycles? Yes, Bunchen rode a bicycle. As big as he was, Bunchen rode a bicycle. And we would ride up the hill from my house to the court and back. He knew how to fix them. And like Robbie and CB said, he always had a plan for everything. If we playing up the road and we getting beat, it's a huddle, and he coming up with a strategy as how we going to finish off them guys up on the hill. And 9 times out of 10, we would win. I was most proud of Bunchen. We kind of lost contact over the years, and occasionally when we get home, I'll get a phone call from him through my brother Ramon, and we would touch bases. But I never knew the level of work that he did for the military, even after he came out. It was one time when I was Commissioner of Agriculture, and he had called me to congratulate me, and we were conversing because he told me at the time that there was some Department of Defense money that could be possibly available to assist. And so he was talking to me, and I'm saying, because just that clerk typist thing, I think Robbie or somebody brought it up about that. I thought he was just some lower level administrator, because even though Bunchen liked to play basketball, was he ever on the farm, CB? I don't think he ever come over on the farm because he didn't like that kind of hard work. And he'd like to, when we didn't put lotion on our hand, Bunchen was putting lotion on his hand. Okay? That's the kind of Bunchen. He keeping himself clean, even though we sweaty on the basketball court, he going home to bed, and he gonna put on lotion. And we'll be this ashy crew just walking with him, no lotion on. But he always took care of himself, even at his size, and I'm still surprised. You guys gotta give me that picture of him slim, because that I have to take home. But in going back forward again in the conversations that we had about what he was doing, and he was telling me he was managing a budget of like $800 million. And in my head, Bunchen that we used to play basketball on the court can't jump? Bunchen who had a plan for everything? Bunchen managing $800 million? And it just goes to show you never know where people are going to end up. And even after he left the military, and I was in my last years of working for the MAP administration, he would still call me and tell me, hey, Carlos, there's something coming up here. There's something coming through the federal government. I said, Bunchen, how you know all this? He said, Carlos, this is what I do. This is the level I'm at. I am two persons down from the highest ranking person in this building. I said, you, Bunchen? He said, yeah, Carlos. I said, man, brother, I am so proud of you. Because most people don't think anything good come out of Bordeaux, except probably basketball players. But I was so proud of him to know that my friend is working in the Pentagon and managing that kind of a budget. And it just brought a real joy to my heart. Afterwards, we communicated, and then I got that news. And I was beside myself. Like you, Court, I couldn't function for a couple of days. And then I had a flashback when Senator Vielle and Alvin and a couple of you at UVI, they used to have these talent shows. I can't honestly remember seeing Senator Vielle doing any skits or any of them. I don't remember Alvin doing any. But Bunchin would have skate with Errol Chichester. And Errol was the female in the relationship and Bunchin was the male. If I could find a picture, I'll send it to you all. And Errol was acting like the woman and Bunchin was the man protecting. I can't remember the whole thing, but it was just one of the funniest things I ever seen. So I don't know if you guys remember it, but that was something that used to happen at UVI. Because even though I wasn't at UVI, I was still single. It was UVI, it was females. Celia had already started linking up with Alvin, so after the market. But Debbie, to be honest, I didn't know that you were there. He kept you a secret. He really kept you a secret unless the other guys knew, but I didn't know anything about you. I used to be in some of the cars, pardon me, Pastor, going to Tau Club with Bunchin or some other event with Bunchin in the car, but I never knew Debbie. So that was one of the best kept secrets that he had. And I'll just sum up by saying Bunchin was all that everybody has said. And as Alvin said, and then some. And I'm really proud to know, to be of a friend, and to know that in his latter days, CB Edna, he used to be listening to Morgan. That just warmed my heart because it said to me that he had gotten to that place where he understood the reality of life and he understood what was important because he knew where I stood. And I was just proud to know that in his last days, that's where he was. Debbie, family, everybody else, God bless you. Thank you. Another 78er. Loose?
Good evening, everyone. I don't know what to say, but listening to all these tales about Bunchin, I have to laugh because little Bunchin that I know was a blusher. He always hides behind his big brother Cyril or behind his mom. I enjoy going to Auntie Sylvie's house because for me, it was a place of refuge. And I enjoy spending time with my big brother CB, who is also my cousin. And I also enjoy Bunchin. Bunchin grew up in a loving home, great supporters around him. Bunchin had a heart that if you needed one, you could count on Bunchin, he would give you his heart. Debbie, where are you? Debbie was my classmate when we all was in Catholic school, and somehow or the other, me being the rebel, had to leave Catholic school. Don't believe it, but I was. I left Catholic school, and only to meet up with everybody else in high school. Bunchin, what can I say? Everybody said everything about Bunchin. But I have to say that I miss him. I miss he had a smile that if he walked in the room, it just lighted up. And his dimples, oh my God. He had some dimples. Okay, I have one dimple, but he had two. And growing up, I used to ask my mom, how come he have two and you only have one? And he's so deep in there. Mommy said that's the way God made him. So my prayer used to be, God, in the morning I want another dimple over here, so I could have two dimples like Bunchin. But it didn't work out. So I was glad for the one that I have. Bunchin was a great person. If Bunchin told you that he was your friend and he called you friend, believe it in your heart, you were Bunchin's friend. I would say to my family, my heart goes out to each and every one of you. Yes, Bonchin was not my cousin, but I call Bonchin my cousin because of his brother Stevie, who is my real cousin. So Bonchin is my cousin, and I loved him deeply. May he rest in peace. I know he's enjoying himself today in heaven celebrating his birthday. So everyone, thank you all for being here. And again, yes, we are the best class of CAHS.
Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart feel lonely? And oh heaven and home, when Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is he. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches over me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches over me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches over me.
Greetings. I'm Garland Sebastian, and I was asked to speak on behalf of my family about my Uncle Henry. When I think about my Uncle Henry, the first word that comes to mind is selflessness, because I think that speaks largely about his character. For as long as I can remember, he always gave a lot of himself and invested so much into others, especially within my family. He did a lot for us that he didn't have to do, but it was almost, he did it with such a diligence and a sense of duty. He took pride in it. He always offered words of encouragement, sound advice, and if you ever went to his house, he always offered you a plate of food. So when you left his home, you always left a little bit richer. You didn't leave empty-handed, ever. Today, I wear my uniform because my uncle encouraged me to join the United States Navy. And I feel honored to wear it because he also was a sailor. So I wear this in honor of his United States Naval Service. Many people go their whole lives trying to understand what is the meaning of their life. I don't think that was a question that my uncle ever asked, because he lived his life with so much purpose. And I believe his purpose was to give his self to others. He always wanted people he associated with to succeed. And if he could help you succeed, he would do anything under the sun to help you. I feel honored that for the time I was under his wing, that I learned a lot, life lessons that helped me navigate through this world a little bit easier when you're coming up as a teenager into young adulthood. My uncle became someone that was a fighting force for me, my mentor, and a hero. And I never took that for granted. And I like to think that he knew that, even though it was never outwardly said, it was always felt. But with my uncle and all his life lessons and his kindness, I would like to take those lessons learned and pay it forward and become someone's mentor and hero as he was to me. Uncle Henry, I appreciate everything that you've done for me, and not only me, my entire family, that you helped when you didn't have to. I used to always say, sometimes you put a strain on yourself, but you always held that weight up with not a problem. My hat is off to you, and I'm so glad and thankful that you were put in our lives and we all benefited from it. Thank you for being a sturdy rock that we could lean on if we ever needed support.
Me now? All right. I had to write mine down because I might stray too far, right? From the 2 minutes. But they say that cousins are your first best friend. And at your grandmother's house is where it always began. And that is the absolute truth, because Bunchin and I were best friends, best buds growing up. My Uncle Henry would bring him to our grandmother's house in the summertime, right? Because it wasn't no summer camp, so we made our own summer camp. Whether it was playing ball, sliding down the hill on Formica, playing marbles, jumping rope, climbing trees, or sneaking away to go Griffith Park. And that was always Bunchin's plan. Never mind. All the broke hands, bust head, bruised knees were all part of it too. We didn't realize at that time that we were making memories. My cousin and I, we were just having fun. Some of us would always end up with a trip to Tortola. And Sylvie would always remember to call my mother and say, hey, can Provy come? And I was always there. So, but as we went through life changes and ventured into adulthood, we grew apart. But as God would have it, we reconnected again several years later. And the good memories just came flooding back to me. We would text each other every day. So I knew something was wrong when he didn't text me back in December. Every day, whether it was just, hey, cuz, or for us to catch up on whatever was happening in the islands, or did you hear this, did you hear that? But every day. Then we had a plan for 2020, that we would come home together, same time, and we would have a reconnection celebration at Megan's Bay. But everybody knows what happened in 2020, so that didn't happen. But however, I'm glad for the time that we spent together. I'm glad for the laughter that we shared. And I'm glad before God called him home that we were able to say to each other I love you, cuz. You know, so if I had a great voice like Whitney Houston, I would sing it. But to my cousin, I would always, always love you. Huh?
My cousin Bonchin was a strong, caring, and loving person. I have always looked forward to seeing him and having good conversations and laughters. He has made a positive impact in my life, and he will be truly missed by me and the rest of the family.
Good evening. This song is dedicated to my godmother and her family, Auntie Debbie. The spring of April's gone, the leaves have all turned brown. The children are all grown up, and there is no one around. I'm looking over my life and all the mistakes I've made, and I'm afraid. Somebody told me that you would wash all my sins and cleanse me from the scars that are so deep within. So I'm calling to you. If you can hear me, I don't know how. I was wondering, can you hold me now? You are the only one that's patient when I call. Your angels come to see me every time I fall. You don't laugh at me when I make mistakes and cry. You're not like men, you understand me. See, people change. One day they don't like you, the next they do. I wish that everyone would love me just like you. So here I am, this sinful man, peace won't allow. I was wondering, can you hold me now? I was wondering, can you hold me now? And it seems like the rain will never end. The Red Sea is in front of you, the Pharaoh and his armies behind you. But my sister, if you lift your head up to the sky, God has not forgotten you, as his angels will camp around you. He will never forsake you. His word is true. He did it for me, and he will do it for you. To every broken person that may hear this song, to every boy or girl that feels their smile is gone. I know exactly how it feels to lay in the bed at night and cry and cry. Don't you worry, God is faithful and He cares. Among the tears you drop and the pain you feel, He's there. When you are weak, that's when He's strong, even though you don't know how. Yeah, yeah, yeah. God can hold you now. God can, and He will hold you now. God can, and He will hold you now. Don't you worry, He will hold you now. Don't you worry, He will hold you now. Thank you.
Good night, church. Good evening, church. I don't know where I should start, but I will start by saying this. I've been alive for 17 years. I have never known that Uncle Bunchin has played basketball. I never heard him tell me any stories, never heard anything about it. But as they were explaining, I see him, how they explain, I see himself in me. I'm not the fastest on the court. Wasn't never the biggest, still not the biggest, but it was something about give me a little space and I could go, just like what Mr. Robles was saying. But like everybody said, he was always there for you, no matter what. I don't know what it was, but it's some stuff that he told me. Like, I had this thing about colors, and I would wear pink. I wouldn't wear pink, and he would wear pink. And I would ask him, why you wearing pink? And he'd tell me, real men wear pink. And since he told me that, I've been wearing pink since then. And the shoes, I always used to wear sneakers, but now, since then, he put me on. I don't know if he put my brother onto it too, but for sure, he had me wearing Sperry's, always wanted Sperry's, and that was the thing. I wouldn't say, well, of course I'm not glad that he's gone, but something made me realize since he was gone, it made me look at life in a different way. It's not much people I could have rely on, but Auntie Debbie and Uncle Bunchin and the family could have always rely on. Going through high school, I never wanted to do school. Of course, that's the age. After he died and I thought to myself, this is my time to do what I'm supposed to do. Long story short, from the conversations we had, always tell me to do my best in school. And not that glad that he's gone, but I'm glad that I did what he wanted me to do. And I was successful, and I'm glad for everything. one last thing. Everybody knows from young I never was big. Why I'm now I was always short. For lack of a better word, I blame Uncle Bunchin for why I became big. In the pictures we took on the outside, it would be 1, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and he would say, "Seymour, you want to go to check house? Let's get some food." Every morning we go. Come back St. Thomas, I was big, never lose my weight since then.
All right, good night, good evening. So, to piggyback on what my brother said, there are so many stories I have that can depict what Uncle Bunchin was. I don't know if you guys saw, but there was a picture, well, numerous pictures that were going around with him wearing a University of the Virgin Islands shirt. I was the one that, I guess, got them for him, but the story behind of it was so crazy because at first I never realized that he was doing math. And then when I called him and told him I was doing math, it was like, oh no, I don't know what kind of worms I opened. Everything that I needed, he was there. But when it came to that shirt, he was like, CJ, I wonder when you go on campus to find a shirt for me. I went in the bookstore and there was a guy that worked there that was my father's friend and his friend. And I'm just like, Uncle Bunchin, I'm not seeing the shirt. And he is in Virginia, and he's telling me, CJ, you telling me that you going to tell me that the shirt is not in the store? And I telling you that the shirt is in the store? And I'm just like, I don't know what more you want me to do. And he's like, listen, I don't know what you need to do, but make sure you find a shirt for me. And just that story just depicts what he was, is like persistence. I mean, I don't know. I know that the senator said that he was an engineer. He graduated engineering as well, and his daughter did civil engineering. Me as well. So I remember another story, when 2017, I moved to Florida, where I'm going to University of South Florida, sorry. That's, if anybody that lives in St. Thomas or the Virgin Islands know that 2017 was when Irma and Maria came. So after the storm passed there, my mom called me and was like, CJ, if you could get out, get out. So I was like, well, mommy, where do you want me to go? Like, I don't have a car. She's like, I can vividly remember I was at the gym playing basketball, and somebody was like, your phone ringing, your phone ringing. Kiara was on the phone, and she's like, hey, we find a ticket right now. And I'm just like, how did we get from A to Z? Literally 30 minutes before, my mom called me, and Kiara was already telling me, okay, we find a ticket. I need your credit card information. We're going to make this ticket for you. All right. So I go to their house, and of course, we got some assignments from school. And I started at UVI about 4 years before. But if anyone knows how math is math on top of math on top of math on top of math on top of math, times 10. So I remember I had some assignments, and like I couldn't remember how to do them because I did them like my first semester at UVI. And my father was like, you ask Uncle Bunchin, ask Uncle Bunchin. You know he can help you, he can help you. Me, I don't like to ask for help. I would quicker do stuff on my own and find a way to do it. And he saw that I was not being able to do it, and he was just like, come, let me show you how to do it. And he was just like, you don't remember how to do this and this and this? I said, well, Uncle Bunchin, that was like 5 years ago. He's like, how you mean you learned to forget? You don't learn to forget. You can't do that. Suppose you out in the wall and they give you a problem and technology ain't there. I was like, well, Uncle Bunchin, you know, calculators work. You could just literally just type it in. There's a program that can run this. He was like, never depend on technology. Always know that your brain is better than this. From then on, I was like, you know what, you're right. But just how he used to go about doing things was just different, but different in a good way. Also, I remember another time when I went, my first Christmas away from St. Thomas. Christmas is my birthday. that happened to be the last Christmas that our grandmother was alive. And for the life of me, Uncle Bunchin was not a singer, but he played this Christmas the whole day and sang it the whole day. And I'm just like, no, what are you doing? And that just taught me, you just have to have fun sometimes. It's not about if you can sing or you can't sing, just sing, just have fun, And I remember when my mom gave me that call, right? I literally, that was because it's January 23rd he passed. My mom called me on January 24th because me and my mother have this kind of way. She would call me, I wouldn't call her back right away. When I call her, I know in her head she's like, oh, no, you answering, no, you want to answer the phone, I ain't answering the phone. So we always have that kind of telepathy. So my mom called me and she was just like, I just want you to know, she called me and then she's like, okay, let's switch to WhatsApp video call because I want to see your face. And she gave me the news and I was just like, wow. Because I don't know why, but and this is just the human nature in me. Sometimes you get too caught up in life that you forget that life actually goes on. Or life is real and here today, gone tomorrow. And I remember I was on my way to go play basketball with one of my close friends. And my mom, she just dropped this bombshell on me. And I'm just like, okay, how am I going to pick up these pieces together now to be able to go play basketball? And I was just like, what would Uncle Bunchin want me to do? Would he want me to just sit here and sulk and just be miserable, or would he want me to just go out and play basketball? And I went out and played basketball, but while I was coming home, it's like the tears just started to fall out of nowhere. And I was just like, I can't imagine what Auntie Debbie, Kiara, Kayla feel. Because they are there, I am here, and even Kiteo them as well. I am here and not there, and this is something that they have to live with for the rest of their life, And I found myself like just playing back because I remember this one time that there's a song, it said, God is always there, and every burden he will bear. Trust him and never doubt. He will work it out. Trust him and he'll see you through. God is always there for you. And I feel probably my roommates got tired of me playing that song. But that was the only song I could have played and just be like, you know what? God is in control and we'll see what his plan is. And that's all I have to say for tonight.
Good night, church. Oh, good evening. Sorry. My name is Kiara, the firstborn, daddy favorite. Yes, I'm the stubborn one from the story earlier, the one that went back and forth with him a lot. This is hard. Daddy favorite. Said earlier, he's a very loving, caring man. And he always did everything that he could for anyone that came into his house. He
teach you something. And it doesn't matter if you bumped heads with him and you did not agree. He made sure his point got across to you. I really. Like I said, I was the stubborn one with him. I really did take a little bit of our time for granted. Never expected this to happen. Not so soon. But I really appreciate everything that I learned from him. Every fight that we had that I learned from. Everything that he passed on to me, from me to my sister, to everyone. Kateo, Asia, Sanaya, Brianna, Bernard, all of us. We're one big happy family, and I just want you to know I'm always going to be here for you guys. No matter what, I'm always going to be here. I love you guys so much. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kayla, the real favorite. And from the stories, the one that's straight and narrow. I want to say thank you for everyone taking the time out to be here today to celebrate my dad. It's not easy losing a parent, especially a parent that is present, there, your best friend. My mom, my dad, and my sister, they used to joke, and they used to say, "Oh, you don't have any friends. We don't see you with any friends." But they were my friends. They were my best friends. And we lost someone very special and someone very important. But I believe that we gained an angel, someone that's watching over us at all times, will always be there for us. And I remember when my mom, she called me on the 23rd. It was about 5 in the morning, and it woke me up out of bed. I don't ever wake up. I don't ever wake up for anybody. I love my sleep. But I felt it, a presence. I felt something was wrong. So she called me and she said, the doctor said, they don't know. So I said, okay, well, we're just going to keep praying. I felt in my heart, prayer is going to work. It's always going to work. And then throughout the day, I felt uneasy, like I felt a shift in the world, like something was wrong. And then Kiara came over, and she said, Mom wants us to call her. I said, okay. So she calls us on FaceTime, and then she tells us that my dad has passed. Now, at that time, I moved to Maryland, so I wasn't able to be there in that moment. So she found a way to get to me, of course. And when she told me that, I dropped the phone. I immediately dropped to the floor and I cried. And I think I probably cried for like a week straight. A week. I felt like my soul left my body. I felt like I just felt like I couldn't move on from that. And I remember getting up and going into the bathroom, and I was in the shower, and I was just breaking down crying. I kept asking why my dad, why would you take him from me so suddenly? But as time moved forward, I realized that everything happens for a reason. God does stuff for a reason, and we may not understand it at the time, but we will later on. It was hard for me, especially because I was a daddy's girl. That was my, everything I ever needed, everything I ever wanted, my dad was there to provide it. Yes, we may have bumped heads too, but at the end of the day, he would go to my mom and be like, if we weren't talking or we weren't speaking, it would hurt him because I was his child. he loved me deeply. And I look back at it now, and when you're younger, you don't realize what your parents are trying to do for you and what they're trying to teach you and what they're trying to tell you, because you're just young and you want to do whatever you want to do. So losing my father was a great loss to me, and it still is, but it made me appreciate life so much more. It made me wake up every day with an even greater purpose. And it makes me every day want to get up and do the things that I told him that I would do and be the person that I promised him that I would be. You know, hearing everything that everyone has said about my dad, it's true. He's a loving father, loving husband, provider, protector. I can't name a time that he wasn't there for us or for anyone else in this room. I miss him every day, every single day. Every day when I wake up, I feel a little bit sad, but then throughout the day, if I miss him, I hear his voice, or I keep a lot of his clothes, and I keep his cologne he would wear every day for work, and I spray it, or I'll pray, or I'll talk to him, and I'll talk to him throughout the day, and a lot of people might think I'm crazy, or they might think that I'm walking around just talking to myself, but I'm actually having conversations with my father. I see him in my dreams. I see him everywhere. I feel him everywhere. I feel his presence, and I really believe that the accomplishments that I've accomplished so far are because of him and everything that he's taught me, and just him being with me. I wish every day that I could call him and I could tell him all the great things that are going on, but I know that he's watching, and he's always gonna be there. And I just really feel for my mom, and I will never know what that's like, but I want you to know that I love you so much, and I'm always gonna be here for you whenever you need me. And Kiara, I just want to let you know that I'm here for you too, and we're gonna get through this together. And I just want to thank everybody again, my Auntie Arlene and my Uncle CB, for doing this and making sure that we're okay, even though we're so far. But you guys have been very instrumental to everything that's been going on, and I don't know how we would be able to get through this without you, CJ or Simone. And I know my dad would be very happy with everything that's going on and at peace. I know he's at peace, but it hurts. It hurts a lot. Thank you, everybody.
Church, good evening, Mr. Robles, Pastor. Good evening to everyone. I'm so happy that you're all here to join in the best birthday ever. This is the best birthday my husband has ever had. There's so many things that I want to share with you, but time will not permit, trust me. As an educator, I can take you a few hours in, but we don't have that kind of time. Everything that you heard tonight, it's 10 times more. And my husband, a loving, caring, it's all true, no lies. But this is such a hard act to follow when you see your kids wailing when they ask me, are you sure you're going to be able to talk? We got your back, but look how far back they are. So on a different note, I want to emphasize on something. My husband, the planner, even though I'm an educator and making lesson plans, some of them went through the planner. Because, oh, how could you teach people this and da-da-da-da? No, you got to do it this way. And who's the teacher, me or you? And that's how it was. Because he had a thing where he says, nothing comes out this house unless it comes through me. When you go out this door, make sure you're not only representing yourself, but you're representing me. And that's just the person he was. And our doors, like his mom said, this house is the house of bounty. Because those doors were never closed. Especially if he knew you were a family member, oh my goodness. They came from near and far. Never, ever would he say no to someone. And I says, well, I thought I was that person, but he got me beat. So I'm there staring at this picture, and I want y'all to know something. My husband loved the smile of Denzel Washington. And even though he'd talk to his friends and even his brother, his mother, his father, and say, I love you, right? And I'm like, why you keep telling people you love them? So, you gotta save some of that love for me. And he's like, because I do. I want them to understand. When I say something, I mean it. I said, oh, okay. So in this picture, he's on our deck after a barbecue and stuff, and he wind down. He took a shower, got dressed. And he's trying to get the smile, and he's like, this one beats Denzel. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you're on that again? And he would try to show just a little bit of teeth. Because he says if you look at Denzel, he don't be grinning and showing all his teeth. So that's how he was. He's like, I got him beat. This is it. This is the one. But everything he touched magically turned into something bigger and better. Even in these kids you see here tonight, and my godchild that sang, those are songs that my husband grew to love as he got closer to knowing who Jesus Christ is. I mean, he started out in the Catholic Church as an altar boy on the altar. And like 2-3 days a week, sometimes 4 days a week, we're in the church having service. And he's like, I had enough of that. But when he heard Pastor Morgan, that touched my husband in ways none of you would ever understand. It took him someplace that to this day he has not returned. And for him to say that he don't want to be left out, I know he's not left out. Because Pastor Morgan said, if you don't want to be left out, you know what you got to do. And he did it, and he instilled that in the kids. With all the other teachings, every night you had to write down everything that Pastor Morgan said for a discussion. When we do the Bible readings, you better have your notes, because the question and answer is going to come. So I'm like, okay, if this is a 2-hour service, and then you have another 2 hours, so you know you're not going, no TV, no nothing, you better have that homework finished because it's church up in here. And that's just to show you the type of person my husband was. And I can take you back to what Senator Verley said, but he didn't tell the truth. he forgot to say that we grew up together on St. Croix. So before he knew my husband, he knew me. We were friends living in the same project, which is called D. Hamilton Jackson, and it's here on St. Thomas, the same replica. And my grandmother and his grandmother lived in the same project. Every summer, we'll be there. And we argued, fuss, and fight the same way how they do with my husband. We did that as kids. And it was so funny. And this is to show you how instrumental and the plans that our Savior has for us, that he put us together from young and didn't even know. Because I knew my husband from the kindergarten. And when I told people that I hated him, we fought, I kicked, I pushed in that St. Peter and Paul Catholic school. They couldn't believe it. They're like, what? I said, yes, I couldn't stand guts. He always was a bully. And when I asked him after we got married, and I said, why you always come for me, you know? And he's like, because I knew that you were strong. I knew you were the one. And I said, that was too young for you to know that. But he insists that he knew. He also said to me, you know, when I started college, I really wanted to be a gynecologist. And he would say, well, when I tried, it was too late because they said I'm too old after the service and stuff, that I couldn't declare, you know, being a gynecologist, but I could be a regular doctor. But he said, no, I don't want to be a regular doctor. I wanted to be a gynecologist. So that's why I changed my major and did the math, because he was good at it. And I can tell you, to this day, in my room, there's a box with 2022 and 2023 budget for the United States Marine Corps that my husband already completed, and those years are not here. You talk about crunching numbers? My husband crunched them to the bone. And he always told me, math is a language. And if you don't understand that language, you'll never succeed in life. And I'm like CJ said, the calculator. Well, the numbers that my husband crunched could not compare to any budget that will cross the United States Virgin Islands. And I tell you, no one man has ever done that for the United States Marine Corps, that when they came to his service, the lower level commander and the higher level commander, then the major, they had to be there for me, they said, because Henry was a good man. Many people call him on the phone and says, I tried calling you at work, but I couldn't get you. Some white man answering your phone and blah, 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 blah. That was Henry. Henry sounded so different and professional that no one knew they were talking to Henry McClean. My daughter said that she missed him because guess what? When she going through college, every day she would call her dad. Daddy, you know what happened today? Today is the worst day of my life. And she would tell him the stories. But I'm like, Henry, how many worst days can Kayla have? Every situation made it a worse day. And they would go on and on for hours talking. And I'm like, she have to stop having these days. Because she's going to be a nervous wreck. She's making me a nervous wreck. But it continued. Not only did he embrace it, he turned it around and ignited it into something special. Because he looked forward to his kids coming to say, well, Daddy, this is this and this is that. And I did another problem for him to solve. He didn't care. It was coming from the kids. These kids and these kids. The youngest, right here, Sanai, she's only 12. But her mind reminds me of his. We don't know what she wants to be yet. She still has time. Asia is going to be a freshman at the Old Dominion University in Virginia Beach. And Kiteo is going to be a sophomore at, excuse me, at VCU. She wants to be a doctor. Would you believe that? And he says, she's going to be a doctor. I didn't do it, but she's going to do it. I said, okay, I mean, people change their minds the same way you did. She can do the same thing and change her mind. He says, no, she's going to be a doctor. She's going to be the first one in the family. I said, okay. But these are our children, and the village that they have behind them and the support, they don't even know. And they don't have to struggle. They don't have to worry about anything because my husband made all that possible. So when you hear that he is such a high-ranking man, believe it. Because we couldn't even come to St. Thomas to visit without the military knowing where we were. We had to have permission. And they want to know how long you're going to stay, where you're going to stay, da-da-da-da. To this day, I don't know Facebook. Because I said, I can't do this to my husband. Top secret clearance, this is clearance. I'm like, I'm not going on it. I don't want them tracking me like that. He says, Debbie, they already got your number. They're already tracking you. And I was like, OMG. But to know that I had a soulmate, a best friend, a husband, somebody's daddy, I'm still, lost for words. Yes, I miss him every day, but life has to go on. And, we take a lot of things for granted, but we, both of us, did our best, not only for our parents, but our children, and hopefully one day I'll have to do it for, if I'm blessed with grandchildren. But the cycle goes on. And with that man above, anything is possible, because I can hardly wait for the plan he has for me. And I know something big is going to come, and we're going to be ready. Thank you so much.
I hear the sound of a mighty rushing wind, and it's closer than it's ever been. I can almost hear the trumpet I look around me, I see prophecies fulfilled. Signs of time, they're appearing everywhere. Oh, I can almost see the Father as He said, "Son, go get my children." And at the midnight bride of Christ will rise. When Jesus steps out of the cloud to call His children, dead in Christ shall rise to meet Him in the air. Then those that remain shall be quickly changed. And the midnight cry will be going home. I look around me, I see prophecies fulfilled everywhere. The signs of the time, they're appearing everywhere. Oh, I can almost see the Father as He says, "Son, go get my children." Yes. Oh, and at the midnight cry, the bride
Sorry. Please stand. Our second scripture reading is taken from 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 13 through 18. As I read from King James Version. But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them are asleep. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God. And in the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort one another with these words. Here ends the reading of God's holy words. May we all be comforted by the reading and hearing of his holy words. Please be seated.
The village has done exceedingly well what the village and continues to do what the village does best. I am young enough to remember wakes, nine-nights, and those other traditions. And I think we don't recognize how much the African heritage that we have is ingrained in us. We deal with a lot of things by storytelling. And in so doing, we communicate truths, we communicate traditions, we communicate understanding. And that has been so well done here this afternoon and evening. I recall participating in an evangelistic effort in the city of Chicago on the south side. And we had a young man, part of my cohort of students who were participating there. And his responsibility every evening was to extend the welcome. He was from Barbados. And he would get up and very enthusiastically say, "Good night, everybody." And the evangelist was a black American, would say, not good night, good evening. We don't want them to leave yet. And I have recalled that, and I very greatly appreciate that you have stayed on and that we have participated as we have in this time of reflection, memorializing Henry Eduardo McClean Jr. Our being here together on this occasion, including those of you who are joining us virtually by means of one of the several platforms, is explainable by two words: no more. It is that same two words combination which will one day speak an entirely new and eternal reality, which will rejoice our hearts for all eternity. These two words speak to our everlasting contentment, to our eternal joy, to unimaginable pleasures, to never again saying goodbye to loved ones, to seeing God face to face, and dwelling in his divine presence eternally. However, if it had not been for these two words, this homecoming would have been for you, Mrs. Deborah McClean. For you, Kiara and Kayla, and for all you other children, a happy family reunion. But because of these two words, so full of promise, which now are the cause of your emptiness, we are here in a somewhat somber mood, missing one who has been such an integral part of your lives for so many years. The marvel and wonder of the two-word combination, no more, is that the same thing which hurts so grievously now is that which will heal so thoroughly in God's eternal new day. The Bible says quite correctly in the King James, I'm going to read from the New King James Version, the words from 1 Corinthians chapter 2. Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love him. And yet, although verse 10 of 1 Corinthians chapter 2 goes on to say, but God has revealed them to us through his Spirit, at our best, when we try to imagine and picture in our minds the perfect, sinless world, we think most consistently in terms of the nullification of evil. We think in terms of what there will be no more of, rather than of what will be. God, knowing our sin-imposed limitations, has in the prophecies of the Bible likewise spoken to us in that same frame of reference. He grants us glimpses of what awaits us in his eternal tomorrows, mainly in terms of what there will be no more of. He shows and tells us there will be no more hurting or being hurt. No more suffering, sadness, or sickness. No more pain, disease, or heartaches. No more grieving or heartaches. No more injustices or unrighteousness of any sort.